President India Foundation. So we live in a very different time. New rules are being made. Order is being destroyed, changed to suit country's own interests. Let me begin this conversation with you by asking you, have we entered again a great age of big power rivalry?
Antonio Gramsci was a renowned Italian scholar and statesman of 1930s, early 20th century. There was a time, a similar kind of situation in the world in 1930s, which ultimately led to the Second World War also. He made a very interesting comment at that time, which is very relevant for us even today. He said, the old order is dead, the new one is yet to be born, and the interim is the time for monsters. We are witnessing the interim between two worlds. We lived in an order which has today almost crumbled, it's almost dead now. Final rites are being performed by people like President Trump for that order. But the new one is yet to take shape. During this interrenal period, there will be certain disorder that we all experience. That is what we are experiencing today. It is a sort of disorder with which we have to live for some time to come. Countries like India have to navigate it carefully, because during this period of disorder, there will be all sorts of forces acting, all sorts of pressures being put on us, not just as you have seen what happened at Davos recently, on all countries. So even Europe is struggling today. But this is a phase which we have to navigate carefully and make sure a new and better world order takes shape.
What sort of an order, in your opinion, is taking shape?
Look, what we should ultimately lead to, again linking to your earlier question, is we should not let the world again slip into a bipolar kind of politics, which we witnessed in the last century between the Western powers and the Soviet-led powers, Soviet-led group of countries. Although, given an option, US would want itself to be the sole superpower in the world. So is China. These two countries have that kind of an ambition to rise as important global powers. They are trying their best also. And in their effort, they are actually fighting with each other, which is leading to another kind of a Cold War. Not exactly the kind of Cold War that you witnessed in the last century, because in the last century when Cold War erupted, it did not limit to two individual countries. It did not limit to Soviet Union and USA. Many countries were pulled into its orbit. So many countries became a part to it. Entire NATO became a party to it. Entire communist bloc, Soviet bloc became a party to it. Every country had to take this side or the other side, except a few of us like India and others. This time at least that's not what we are witnessing. There is a Cold War going on between the US and China, but not necessarily that all other countries are forced to take sides in that. In fact, no other country is taking sides in that. But what we want, to your question, what we want going forward will be a world where multiple poles will have a voice, will have a say, will have a place to operate in this new order. So that kind of a world, which we can call as multipolar world, is what we should build. When I say poles, those poles need not be individual countries alone. It can be groups of countries. Like BRICS can become a pole. European Union can become a pole. ASEAN can become a pole. So that kind of a new order is what we have to build.
In one of your editorials, you had written about mini-lateralism, multilateralism, bilateralism. There is going to be an EU-India FTA. There is a FTA in place with other countries also. But is it enough in context of security structures? Because one thing is becoming very clear, that in this hard power bargain, a lot of ideological based or principle based associations, they become weak when they come face to face with the logic of hard power, which is one tariff or which is property or a piece of land. Then those logics fade away.
No, these are all symptoms of this disorder, remember. Why it is happening this way is because the established order has collapsed. Why did Venezuela happen? who allowed the American forces to enter a sovereign country and simply lift up the president from there and put him in jail in America. If anything like that has to happen, it should happen through United Nations Security Council, right?
Absolutely.
That was the established order. Now that order has crumbled. So today everybody is playing by his own rules. This disorder is symptomatized by many things that you are mentioning, whether it is Greenland, whether it is today's Ukraine war, or what happened in Venezuela, what Trump is doing, unilateral tariffs. This is against the WTO rules. But he is going about doing all those things because even WTO has collapsed. Again, I'm coming back to that point that we are passing through a very disorderly phase of our world. In this, certain pressures will be there. We have to navigate that situation carefully, but we also should not lose sight of the immediate objective. The objective is build a better order.
So where do you place India in this? Because one, our relationship, which was very good post 1990 with the United States of America, people to people, business, in terms of values, in terms of constitution, in democracy, we were on the same page. It has soured immensely, one, because Trump has publicly disrespected our institutions, our Prime Minister. Second, Donald Trump does not understand the link which the Indian community, Indian people have with agriculture, which he wants to forcibly open for the American market. Third, there is a China issue which the India is dealing with last century. So where do you place India in between? Because there's a rise of China and you have a fight back from United States of America. How is India placed in this context, sir?
Look, as far as the US and India are concerned, problem is with Trump, not with America, please remember. We should be able to understand the difference between these two, because Trump is a transitional phase. Today you have him as the president. He has his own way of dealing with things. He has his own very personality-centric kind of governance that he established there. White House doesn't matter, their public institutions, their judiciary, nothing matters for him. Congress doesn't matter. I mean, both House and Senate don't matter. That's the kind of thing that he established in that country. Some sort of a semi-authoritarian kind of regime that he is running. So that should not lead us to conclude that India and US will no longer be friends. No. Our relationship has been built over decades of hard work. Vajpayee in 2000, in a lecture in Atlantic Council, called it a natural allies partnership. We are natural allies. We share so many common values, like for example, democracy, liberal constitutionalism, fundamental rights, human rights, and all these issues we share similar ideas. So this relationship will continue. It is facing some hiccups now. It faced such hiccups in the past. Nixon was the president of USA in late 60s and early 70s. We had very tough time with Nixon at that time. So these phases should not lead us to conclude to anything. China is a different case. With China we have a history. That history is not always a very palatable history for us. Yet we are neighbors, we have a strong trade relationship, we have to balance that relationship in a manner that we will cooperate, but we would not reach a point of conflict.
So are you saying that it's possible that we will be able to resolve our issue with America in time? Possibly the Trump goes away, the tariff issue can be resolved. So it's a reflection of Trump's attitude, not a reflection of a larger policy shift from the capital?
I know the US system sufficiently well to agree with you or state it clearly that this is Trump's personal issue. It boils down to how far India is willing to go to please him personally. That is where the issue is. Otherwise, even Trump understands the value of US-India relations.
If Trump is a symptom of this right MAGA, then why am I supposed to believe that this sentiment will not persist even if Trump leaves?
So Trump need not necessarily the representative of MAGA per se, but he will continue to please that section. He will continue to keep them in good humor, and definitely his core group, the people around him, seem to be very heavily influenced by MAGA discourse, which is white supremacist. I wouldn't mind calling it also racist, and very predominantly Christian discourse. So there is one such discourse in America, which is pitting all immigrants against the American identity, not accepting them as Americans, seeing them perpetually as immigrants, so they should go. America should only belong to white American Christian people. This is the crux of their argument. Whether Trump represents it or not is a different question. But Trump would want them to be in good humor. They want them to be happy because they are his core vote bank. Now, what will happen to MAGA sentiment? It's a very good question you asked. If tomorrow Trump goes, will this sentiment go away? I don't think. These sentiments, once they are cultivated, they will continue to remain. Why they are very obvious today is there is a political power supporting it. So, whether nationalism based on culture, identity is important, we are also cultural nationalists. But our approach is different, as you rightly said. We are not exclusivists, we are inclusive. We wanted them to learn from us. In fact, I went to their conferences, Conservative Party conferences, and told them that if you understand our approach, we can work together.
So, Indian right needs to call them conservatives, not right, because the American right is different from Indian conservatism. I think there are two different streams of thoughts.
No, ideally we would not like to be described as right or left also. We would be happy to be described as cultural nationalists. We are the mainstream. Why right and left? We are the center of the country here.
Okay. Coming back to this issue of India's position in this world, when Nehru was the Prime Minister, when there was a great power rivalry, we followed NAM. Today, there's another word for it, strategic autonomy. A lot of people are saying that we should be more vociferous, we should speak more. Some editorials were written to pay the price. Are we on the right path, sir? Are we saying enough? Are we doing enough? Because there's a lot of conversation on social media. Maybe we're not saying enough.
Now, Karthikeya, let me first correct this misunderstanding about NAM and strategic autonomy. They are not one and the same. NAM was a decision to stay out of the big power rivalry that existed in the last century. NAM was a failed experiment. We tried it in 1950s. By early 60s, it met with its natural death. It did not succeed. The essence of NAM politics was, we will neither join you, support you, nor support the other. We won't be with any of these groups. Strategic autonomy is not that. Strategic autonomy is, we won't be a party to the fights that you engage in, the conflict you engage in, but we will be proactively working with both of you. We will be proactively working with USA also, Russia also, Iran also, Saudi Arabia also, Israel also, Palestine also, so China also, West also. So that is what is called strategic economy. Strategic economy is about proactive engagement with countries. Non-alignment was about proactive or committed disengagement with countries. So they are not the same. As a country believes in strategic autonomy, we are taking very firm positions on many world issues. We are not silent at all. If anybody on social media thinks that we are silent, they are probably mistaken or misunderstood. Take the case of Ukraine-Russia war. When we took the position that not every country needs to side with Ukraine or Russia, or West or Russia, 40 countries followed us. And we became a kind of a role model for countries. Those countries were not small countries. Saudi Arabia, UAE, Indonesia, big countries. So we are playing a proactive role, but our role will be not to become a party to any conflict, but to become a party to any possible future resolution of conflict.